Woo! Welcome, one and all, to the Chaos Protocol. No matter if you're tuning in for the first or 100th time, we are Transplaner RPG, an all-transgender, people of color-led, dark fantasy actual play channel telling stories set in an original, non-colonial, anti-orientalist multiverse. This means that we stand against genocide and ethnic cleansing, and support all oppressed peoples of the world struggling against injustice, imperialism, and colonization. We must use our voices to build solidarity and fight for the worlds we wish to see. To that end, free Sudan, free DRC, free Palestine, and free all oppressed peoples of this world. Thank you all so much for showing up to support our story. If you're watching this right now, then you're seeing the live recording of Arc 3 episodes 13 and 14 on Twitch or YouTube, or maybe even TikTok. And before we get started, please allow me to introduce my fantabulous cast, starting with Valiant Dorian.
Hello everyone, my name is Valiant Dorian. I use him, his pronouns. You can find me on...
What is happening? I was trying to... Below me. Okay, that's where he is. Okay, great. What is happening?
Hello. Hi everyone, I'm Valiant Dorian. I use him, his pronouns. You can find me all around the internet at Valiant Dorian or at Otso Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure I just set you on. Tonight, I have the distinct pleasure of playing Seiya, who uses he, they pronouns, and I am located beneath Connie's webcam. And with that, I'm going to pass it on over to Guy.
Hi everyone. I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns. You can find me at Aurora's Estella and Ladders, but tonight I am back having a wonderful time in a nice diner where nothing bad could possibly happen to me as Mr. Zanin-esh, who's having a nice time being a boot kisser. He uses he, him pronouns, by the way. Sam?
Zanin's always been a boot kisser. Hi, I'm Sam. I use she, they, and the occasional they pronouns. You can catch me all across the interwebs at Lust for Life X. And tonight I get the bestest pleasure in the entire world of playing everyone's favorite baby girl, Lumira, who uses she, her pronouns. What's going on, boss?
And Lumira is exclusively a healer, right? Like, she doesn't do anything else.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. She has one mission that was given to her by fate, her calling. It's important, and it is healing.
Exactly. Now that that's cleared up, so to start off announcements, a massive thank you to our major sponsors for Arc 3, Explain Trade, Hero Forge, and Frivolous Bear Studios. Hero Forge, I'll never get sick of plugging them. Hero Forge has a bunch of cool new features, including color statuettes. These things are huge. Legitimately, like, this statuette is the size of my face. And I personally, as someone who really does love minis, but has always thought they should be a little bit bigger so they can show off my Blorbo's, like, crenellations and details. Check this out. Go to bit.ly/transforge. You don't even have to buy anything. Just clicking that link really helps us because it tells Hero Forge that you all are engaged. You all are engaged and that you like our stuff and you're interested in what they have to offer because they support us. So go to bit.ly/transforge. We'd also like to thank our Patreon precepts, Ozra, Brooke, Cassidy, Clay, Elvira, Gridrunner 404, Mark J, Phil, Robert Burke, Rose, Sergeant Danes, Spencer, Squareheart, Taylor, the Bow System, and Zoe. All of you are incredible. I'm giving you all a digital kiss. Mwah! You can join their illustrious ranks by using !Patreon in the Twitch chat. If you're on TikTok or YouTube, go to transplanerrpg.com or patreon.com/transplanerrpg and consider pledging at the free or $3 tier to start. And you can even gift a loved one a subscription as a present for them if you have someone who's an Aquarius in your life with a birthday coming up soon or that has just passed. You'll unlock behind the scenes content and even more discounts on our merch store. Speaking of which, Valiant Dorian, can you tell people about our merch store?
I can tell you all. Yes, I guess my internet blipped out for a second there, but the internet cannot stop the merch post. So here we go. Hey, you have an Aquarius in your life? It is time for you to buy them some Chaos Protocol merch.
Oh no. Oh, Val.
So,
no, Val!
fans of Transparent.
Oh, rip!
You can now.
Val.
Oh no!
Rip.
Find
Baby
gorgeous apparel, home goods,
boy!
and accessories designed.
He's
What the
trying.
fuck? Oh no!
Yeah, Val, you
No!
might have to restart your internet or something,
no.
or rejoin. Yeah. Oh, there he goes. That's okay.
Am I alive?
You are gone from our video call, Val, but I think you're still on Zencaster. Welcome back.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I don't know what just. Okay,
Yeah, I'll take over. I'll take over the
Okay.
merch post, and Val, why don't you troubleshoot your internet while that's happening, and just let us
Sounds
know
good.
backstage over chat what's happening with your Wi-Fi. Though, what you missed the tech demons dragging Val to hell about? He was trying to tell us about our merch store. You can find gorgeous apparel, home goods, and accessories designed by not my husband, his husband, by using !merch in the Twitch chat or by going to transplanterrpg.shop. I'm taking your husband from you, Val. I'm a homewrecker. Homewrecker Connie.
I mean-
Connie Homewrecker Chong.
He's pretty
Um,
great.
I mean, yeah,
Connie
Max
in
is
his
great. Max is
homewrecker
an incredible
era?
designer. I have always been in my homewrecker era. Our shop is sourced ethically.
We're getting scolded.
How do you think I got
In the
seen?
back of
Size, just can't jokes. Or maybe they're not. Size inclusive and made to order with free global shipping. So go check it out. Passing it over to Kai.
I have to breathe first. Hi, everyone. If you're enjoying the Chaos Protocol, please consider donating and leaving us a tip. All tips go directly to the performers and will also support our incredible mod team. Your donations help make our work possible. Use !donate in chat and toss a coin to the Twilight Guard. And keep your eye open for future fundraising we'll be doing for those affected by the wildfires in LA. Love you, LA. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Sam for everyone's favorite part.
You're right. It is time for everyone's favorite part, the recap. Last time on The Chaos Protocol, Strike Team Nova hear the story of the Spider and the Shrike. After meeting with Ro, the party splits up, and nothing bad has ever happened to the party when it splits up. Not at all. But to learn about the other major houses of Inferno, Zynon makes nice with Anugata of House Kutun and folds to her demands. Instantly, as always. Meeting their leader, Sakti, after a wolf incident, Lumira attends class with the perceptive Professor Toyin Fueko of House Huyin and learns of a marriage proposal. And Sayir and Yinghe meet the young, old Abbot Sing Sing of House Ula, who happens to have been a part of House Turkar a long, long time ago. And that's what you missed last time. Use !recap in chat to read our full written recap document.
Thank you for that, Sam. Val, can I get a quick connection text from you? You don't seem to be coming through in Zencaster.
Yeah.
Cannot hear you. All right. Before I go to content warnings, take us away from here. We're gonna troubleshoot this.
Flee.
Hello?
Oh, we can hear Val now,
Hello, I'm saying words.
and your face is back up. Can we hear? Keep saying some
Hello.
words.
I'm gonna keep saying words. Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry for that weird
I
internet
think you're
blip.
back. Yay!
Okay.
Yay! Val's back. Yay! The tech demons, get out of here. Bam! Bam! I'm punching you with terrible boxing form. Get out of here. Okay, so let's get into business. The Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy series that may contain content that is triggering for some viewers. So content warnings for this session may include fantasy violence, blood, death, grief, trauma, vampirism, body horror, neck gore, romance, references to sex, complex character dynamics, brief depictions of floods, and mentions of spiders. So if you're in the Twitch chat, you can use !CW to get a look at our content warnings at any time. Otherwise, on YouTube and also TikTok, our mods will be dropping these content warnings as they arise. And now, the title of tonight's episode is "The Light Shall Not Follow, the Blood Will Not Run." From Praying Beside the Teeth That Killed Me by Connie Chong. Let's begin. Oh. Hey, Bo, what's up?
What's up? Are you on your way back from the apartment or not?
Yeah. The little lady's just a little low on gas, so I'm at the quick way.
We do not have time for this. We need to grab our bag and get to the ICMA, now.
Tonight? What? Hold on. Bo, are you sure? Look, I know my way's been a little slow so far, but I really don't want to risk breaking and entering.
Your way hasn't been slow, Mav. It's been dead. The spiders have been giving us the runaround for the past 2 weeks. Our client is getting impatient. It's time to do things my way.
Listen, Rhododendron's gonna respond to my request any day now, okay? We just need to hold out a little bit longer.
Time is not on our side. Do you really think that the Twice Bitten is going to let a fake journalist tour their closed gallery where they covered up a murder?
Allegedly covered up a murder.
Mav.
I know, it's just, as investigators, we shouldn't jump to conclusions.
They're not paying us for conclusions. They're paying us to procure evidence. We tried it your way, Mav. It didn't work. Now we do it my way.
Fine. Just, can't it wait until tomorrow? Or at the very least, the morning? At least that way the spiders can't jump us. Daylight and all that.
No. If there really was a violent murder, it needs to be at night. Paranormal activity doesn't register during the day.
Oh, right. Paranormal activity.
Are you serious?
What?
Are you scared?
No.
Maverick.
What? Who in their right mind isn't at least a little bit scared of a fucking ghost? Okay? Ghosts are scary. You can't punch a ghost. You can't kill a ghost. They're already dead. How would you kill something that's already dead?
Hurry up.
Hello?
And meet me back at your place. I'll be there in 15 minutes.
Fine. Just wait. Hold on. Before you hang up, just, do you want anything from the gas station? Biddles? Doggenhaus?
No, Maverick. No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking that, yep. All right, they hung up on me. All right. You know what? Doggenhaus it is. Sign-in. Stale smoke and fresh blood lingers in the air, sticking to the plaster walls like fry oil. Breath by breath, Kelliga calms down. She groans quietly, head twisted away from her still mending arm, as though looking at it would make it hurt even more. Anu keeps her steady. Sakti pulls a pack of cigarettes from her jacket and taps one out into her palm. Her faded gray eyes fix on you. She notices how you linger on Kelliga's blood, how your tongue darts out to wet your lips. But she doesn't comment on it. Instead, Sakti says, "What do you think you know about wolves, Esh?"
The big ones, or just, I don't know, I've seen a few. Stopped them from hunting where they shouldn't.
And when you say you've seen a few, you mean regular wolves that live in woods outside the city? Or wolves?
Yeah, I'm assuming if that was a wolf, I ain't seen one that big before.
Then you've probably got no idea exactly what it is we're up against here. What a fucking mess. Gestures at Anu, who pulls out another pack of cigarettes from her own jacket, taps out another, and hands it to Sakti. Sakti lights both cigarettes and pulls on the two, letting out a thick gout of smoke that wafts in front of her face. You see, Esh, the wolves here in Inferno, they're disorganized. They're not like us. They don't have houses, at least not yet. They run around the city in these semi-formed packs. There's maybe a dozen of them, 2 dozen, 3. Can't really say. Honestly, can't really care. They're not typically a threat to our holdings. At least, not until recently. Sometimes their scrap and their business spills out into our territory, affects what we do. That being said, there was a house among us that took it upon themselves to help negotiate things between the wolves. Hazard your best guess.
Thrakar.
Thrakar. You know, a moon and a half ago, they negotiated some territory disputes that were bubbling up between several disparate, scattered packs. As far as we could tell, that was the end of it. Drew some hard lines, set up some hard boundaries. All was well. Of course, even though the bears, we were fine with it. I mean, less blood spilled is better for everyone all around. But others were quite mad. They thought the spiders overstepped. What do you think?
I mean, it was before my time. But I assume that anything that keeps the peace around this place is thin at best in the first place. So.
You wouldn't be wrong there. You see, this thin peace brokered by House Thrakar doesn't seem to be holding. Seems like the rumors we've been encountering about trouble starting up again aren't just rumors. And those gray eyes flick back to Kelliga, who's moaning quietly in pain.
The moan catches Zynan's attention again, and I think he misses part of what is said because he is so hungry for the smell, but also mixed into the smell of copper, of that delicious smelling undead blood. There's just a small waft of berry in the smoke that flicks through his mind and leaves as fast as it comes. Another memory, a wisp of familiar smoke, long gone. And he looks too long at Kelliga.
Yeah, you do, and it's not until Kelliga starts talking again that you're pulled back into the present. Sakti had turned her attention toward her, and now this injured vampire is speaking. As her arm continues to mend, she goes, "Ugh, and that's why Sakti sent me to investigate. I poked around a little bit, because these disputes were spilling into bear territory, and I got bit. Got bit real bad. Still remember the wolf that did it to me. It's coming back to me now that the pain isn't so bad. She was big. I mean, all wolves are big, but up close she was really big. And I remember her face, her muzzle. There was this scar across it. This old scar, all fucked up and scabbed over, like. There's something else, too. Something I barely noticed at the time and then forgot about because her fucking huge truck grill-sized mouth clamped down on me, but now I remember. And at that, Sakti leans in, taps out some of the ash onto the table, eyes fixed on her friend. What is it, Kelliga? This happened in the common, you know, where there are still deer, because of the whole conservation stuff. There were a bunch of dead ones. Deer, I mean. Bunch of dead deer in the green. Just bodies torn open, but not eaten. But this wolf, she tore into me like she was rapacious, like she was hungry, like I thought maybe she was rabid, maybe she was just starving, but why would a starving wolf tear a bunch of deer to pieces and not gorge itself?
And that staves off some of the hunger for a moment. Because when Zynon hears the story of the deer, of the waste, of destruction, that word comes creeping back in his head. The one that he pushes down every so often, but it always comes back. It's a river. It's a room full of hollow faces. It is dust. It is oblivion. Huh. Predators don't just leave slain prey around.
No. No, they do not. That is most bizarre, Caliga. You did well. And I'm glad you got out alive. No information is worth losing one of our own. Anu, why don't you take her to the back? Patch her up even more than what this first aid kit can do. As for you, and Sakti fixes her eyes back on you as Anu takes one big burly arm and helps Caliga up, who whimpers a little but is feeling more and more like herself. She kind of stumbles a little bit out of the booth, and the two women go to the back. Now it's just you and Sakti. Sakti leans back in this wooden booth, sucks on her cigarettes again. You an enterprising type.
I have my moments.
What do you think of win-win situations?
Always a fan.
Well, I've got a win-win proposed for you, Ash. I know you're helping the spiders in your own way. Halfway associated, halfway not. But there's a way you can help the bears here. Obviously, this whole wolf business is a little beyond our current interest and scope, insofar as I don't want to risk the neck of any more of my own. This shit has gone on long enough. But if you and your friends help us figure out what exactly is going on with this wolf, what it wants, why it's acting this way, and stop it, maybe we'll consider the spider's proposal.
And Zynon leans over, and his body feels so familiar for a second, leaning across a bar, listening to a proposal, breathing in smoke. And he smiles, a younger smile. I think we can help each other out.
Good. Good. That I'm pawning this wolf business off to you and yours. The sooner you take care of it, the better. The spiders have a bit of a timeline, too, last I checked. Don't dilly-dally.
Wouldn't dream of it.
Good. I'm gonna check on my friend in the back. You? Clean this shit up. She gestures at all the blood and gristle on the table, stubs out her cigarettes, and stands. And then she goes to the back, leaving you alone here, briefly.
Left alone, Zynon rubs his hand across the table, getting some of the blood of Caliga that pooled. And before he even looks around the room, his caution smothered by his hunger, he takes that bit of blood that he wiped up on his finger and just licks it.
Oh, it is delectable, Zynon. It is honeysuckle.
And licking a diner table can't be worse than kissing a boot. And he's hungry. He's so hungry.
Okay. Zynon, I'm gonna need you to slake your thirst here. Kelliga has spilled enough blood for you to quench it with your tongue, rolling down that slab of steel, slurping it up. So, Zynon, when you slake your thirst, you have to make a roll using your weakest attribute. What is it?
They're all the same.
Okay, so how many dice are in that pool?
It's 2.
Okay, so Zynon, you, because of your dark gift, are able to drink and find nourishment from the blood of the undead, but tell me, is Kelliga your blood type?
Well, Kelliga went and did something very dangerous by facing down the wolves. And Zynon has always had a type. A hunger for thrill seekers.
You can taste that thrill still humming in her blood like motor oil, thick and viscous, pouring down your throat in these warm tides. Roll 2d6 for me, please.
Ooh, that is 11.
Okay, what is the highest individual die? A 5, I assume? 6, I assume?
Yeah, yeah, it's a 6. That's
Okay.
wild.
If you drink from your blood type, you double the amount of thirst you clear. So technically, double of 6 is 12.
Haha.
So you overindulge. you lose yourself in the process of drinking this. You give into your thirst and you make a bad call. So Zynon, choose a complication. Steal someone's drink, brag about your exploits, tap out the prey, meet someone, or get shit-faced.
Oh, I think this blood is weird. I think he's gonna get a little shit-faced.
Okay. Okay, I love it. So that means you do something here that you shouldn't have. And because perhaps this blood's a bit weird to you, it affects you in a way that maybe it overwhelms your senses. Say what inadvisable thing you do here and take +2 exposure for your coterie because of it.
I think as he is licking, I mean he's licking the table in a diner with there's windows.
Yeah, okay.
This,
yep.
Like this is quite weird of him.
Okay, I love that. So, Zynon, because of the 2 exposure, I'm gonna say there are people walking by the broad windows of the diner who see this, and someone else is also going to walk in on you here. So why don't you tell me what it looks like as you're lapping up this blood like a fucking gremlin?
I think after he cleans the table, he's like fully got his hands and like wiping down the seat. But he's got his like chin near the seat, this vinyl seat that he is just like lapping up blood with his hand and with his tongue, and fully like horror movie style has blood running down his hands, and he is covered in blood all over his face as he is licking his hands, the seat. He's got the viscera on him. He is in it.
Zynon, a flash of colored glass catches your attention from beyond the window directly in front of you. In fact, I think it catches your attention when you kind of lick up, right? And your body kind of goes up and the blood is pouring down your chin. And then this flash of color beams against you. It's a really small flash of color, rose-colored, and it's coming from across the street from you, several lanes of traffic, but it pings for you. You see a figure who had been walking down the sidewalk. They are shrouded in shadow. You can't quite make them out, but they'd paused briefly. And that flash of color was actually a set of tinted glasses upon their face. You see a glimpse of a cane, dark hair, eyes whose true shade you can't make out because of the tintedness of the glasses, but you swear you catch just a hint of a smile and a sharp set of canines. And then you hear a voice from behind you go, "What the fuck, man?"
Fuck. Waste not, you know.
Anu is holding a dirty rag that she was in the middle of wringing out. She pauses and lets it kind of fall limply at her side. You know, Diablo really wasn't fucking around about you. You are a freak.
Whatever it takes to stay alive, right?
She leans her hip against the counter with an inscrutable expression on her face. You see a little bit of disgust, which is not unanticipated, a little bit of curiosity, and a little bit of something else that doesn't fully bleed into clarity until her next words come out of her mouth. What, the burger and the stein of blood wasn't good enough for you?
It didn't help.
And you realize what that emotion is. She feels challenged that her food, her nourishment, the blood she'd given you, hadn't satiated you. That's what you're into, huh? Okay. Looks like you're quite flush from Kelliga too. You know, she's always had a hot temper. That your type?
I like people who like risk. Whatever that means. And Zynon takes that feeling, that little bit of desire, that challenge to care, and he feels such familiarity in it that it blooms in him as much as the blood does, that there is home in that feeling for him. Huh. Thrill seekers.
And she kind of slings the rag over her shoulder, looks at you with a new kind of understanding trickling into her gaze, and then she says, "A few more dishes in the back. Clean up. Not with your tongue, Ash. Unless you've been
dishes.
otherwise instructed."
I hear you.
Alright, back in the kitchen with you.
Alright. And Zynon just goes. Like this was normal.
Belly full, tongue satiated, you slink back into the kitchen, and we pull to black. Lumira, the lecture hall here is completely empty, except for you, Professor Ifueko, and this bombshell she just detonated at your feet. The professor looks at you with those patient, almost maroon eyes. She leans casually back against her wheelchair like she has all the time in the world to drink in your shock. As for your shock, how do you school it, if at all? And do you agree to deliver this ask of betrothal to Rhododendron Thakar?
Lumira, while her body stature definitely gives cool, calm, and collected, her eyes have always been her tell. So they go wide, almost cartoonishly for a second before they settle back in, and she looks with very deep contemplation. Professor Ifueko, this is an ask. I just got here. And she's like shifting her weight back and forth on her feet as she's trying not to pace, but she can't sit still.
A simple yes or no will suffice, Miss Nova.
Can I think about it at least? I really don't want to cause any more additional problems here than what have already been caused.
Miss Nova, you haven't been causing any problems. In fact, you've been saving lives. As for this question, this message I would like you to pass along to the spiders, it will be passed along, regardless of the courier. I wanted to give you an opportunity to work with me.
Me?
Of course.
Why me?
Because of all of the similarities between you and I that I've already touched upon, and because I'm curious about you. I see that thing that is buried within you, Miss Nova. And I do believe I'm interested in helping you pull it out.
Lumira stands stock still. You could hear a pin drop because she's now stopped mimicking the human breath that she's always taken. I don't know what to say. Okay, fine. I'll do it.
You have no idea how happy that makes me, Miss Nova. And Lumira, you have gotten to know Professor Ifueko in these few minutes. Has it been an hour? Has it just been 2 minutes? You don't know how long it's been. Time seems to stretch and also collapse when you're in conversation with this fascinating vampire. And now that you've introduced yourself to this extremely important figure in Inferno, I am pleased to inform you that this will advance that long-term project clock, the fate of Inferno. I'd like you to roll to tick a certain number of wedges. Your result will determine how many as part of your first downtime activity. So to do so, you tell me the action you'd like to invoke based on your behavior so far with her.
Study.
Study. Okay. How many dice are in that pool?
2.
Go for it. Roll 2d6. And here's something else. I will give you an additional d6 because Professor Ifueko wants to connect with you.
6.
Is there just 1 6?
Just 1.
Okay, so that's really good. You have advanced this project clock quite a lot. You've made tremendous progress. Mark 3 wedges. So that means out of the 16, we have 13 wedges left to mark as of this. I'm gonna make a note of that. Okay. Professor Ifueko smiles. Not for the first time, and certainly not for the last time in this conversation. That vulpine, fox-like, cunning, and yet somehow genuine smile, at least when she turns it onto you, Lumira. And she says, you know, I hope you know what my intentions are when it comes to you, Miss Nova. Because let me be very, very clear here. I don't need to use you. You are not a tool for me to wield. I don't need to use anyone else, for that matter, in order to achieve the goals that I've set for myself. I'm not like the spiders. I do my own work. House Trakar has volunteered to do some of my work for me. And I always work smart, not hard. So of course I've taken them up on their generous offer, because this is a case of aligned interests. But I don't need to use you, Miss Nova. That's how you know you can trust that I'm telling you the truth. I have no reason to lie to you.
Lumira looks as close as you can look to being knocked over with a feather, but still standing. She's flabbergasted. She's flushed, but Also, deep in the pit of her stomach, right behind her belly button, it's warmth that spreads, almost like she's stepping into the waters at the grove all over again. She can't explain it, but there's one emotion that I think sits right at the tip of her tongue. She still won't acknowledge it. Pride. She's finally chosen for not what she can do, but who she is. And I think that is settling in her spirit in a way she wasn't ready for. So she just looks at Professor Efueko and nods.
Good. Now, Lumira, can I call you Lumira?
That is my name?
And please, call me Toyin.
I don't think that'd be appropriate, Professor.
Then whenever you feel ready, call me Toyin. There is an intellect inside of you, an ever-churning mind. It is the mind of a predator. It is not the mind of prey. It is the mind of a knower, of a doer. A mind that's been forced to hide. Who did that to you? You don't have to tell me. Not right now. You don't ever have to tell me. I just want you to know that ambition is not a dirty word, Lumira. Anyone who tries to tell you that it is doesn't want you to bloom into your truest, fullest self. I want you to bloom, Lumira. Bloom in a way that I didn't when I was your age. Bloom in a way that no one wanted me to, but I did regardless. Rising through cracks and broken glass to become the woman I am today. Even if that blooming means you and I might find ourselves on opposite sides of a war, I want you to come into yourself anyway. I owe it to the girl I used to be. And you see pain in her eyes, Lumira. Open, vulnerable pain. There's something about her history that she sees in you and that you also see in her of resonance. And in that moment of her sharing that pain with you, oh, there's a different sensation inside of you, a sensation that had kind of reared its interest back at the bloodbath when those blood shots had been given to you. Lumira, why does that thirst start bubbling up inside you in this moment?
Lumira looks proud, but then her eyes narrow, her brow furrows. And she steels herself and takes a step back. Taking, I think, the first breath since she stopped holding it to try to quell that feeling that's gripping her stomach.
And Professor Efueko sees it. She leans forward in her chair in some concern. You're thirsty. When was the last time you had a drink?
Don't worry about me. I work just fine. I do my best thinking when I'm hungry.
Don't be ridiculous, Lumira. Here, let me help. And she pulls out a key card, an academic key card that she has access to as a teacher here. And she kind of jerks her head toward the lecture hall doors here on the ground floor. There is a medical research laboratory here. They're doing some sort of experiment on hemoglobin. In other words, there are quite a few unattended blood bags just across the green. I'm sure the people here won't notice if a few go missing. And this, and she holds up her key card, will give you access to that lab.
I don't know what to say. Professor, you've done so much for me already.
Oh, please. Feeding a hungry student is the least I can do. This I would offer to anyone in my class.
Lumira's shoulders kind of slump at that just a little bit.
She raises an eyebrow, noticing it, and says, a drink, I mean. Not special administrative access to a forbidden wing of IU.
She perks back up again and reaches out for the card.
She smiles, enjoying this little dance that's begun between the two of you, the sensation of how to play you. Not to use you, but just to have fun. And she hands you the key card. She gives you instructions for where her office is, so you can return this card to her when you're done. And Lumira, do you take Professor Ifueko up on her offer to slake your thirst at this lab?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
So I'm gonna need you to use your second downtime activity to slake your thirst. So here, just as always, we're gonna be using your weakest attribute. How many dice do you have in that?
Just one.
Okay, so the blood here, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say it's not your blood type, because your blood type, Lumira, is quite specific. So roll 1d6 for me, please.
4.
Okay, how much thirst do you have?
4.
That's perfect. That's a perfect amount. Wow, this aligns narratively really well. So you slake the perfect amount of thirst here. We find you in the midst of this medical research laboratory, amidst sterile white walls and this modern equipment, the low hum of safety lights overhead, as you find these refrigerators, these coolers full of bagged blood, and you drink. So tell me, Lumira, how do you drink the perfect amount of blood? Not a drop too little, not a drop too much, to satiate your hunger.
I think it ends up being almost like the Tale of the Three Bears, where she looks at each of the bags for a second and like weighs them in her hand, kind of like shakes it around to test the viscosity of it, before like opening a cap of each one and dropping it onto her finger to see which one she likes the best, before she finds like a section of bags that is close to what it is that she is looking for or needs, and then just bites into it, almost like a feral child who's trying to get into a Capri Sun without the straw. Like
I love that. Yeah, Lumira, as this blood gushes down your throat and kind of covers your mouth a little, oh, that feels nice. And that's the perfect amount, just right. A memory of a spark of life flares back into your eyes as you clear every single thirst on your track. We pulled a black. Sayir. The quiet solitude of the pagoda presses against you in the form of murmured chants and swirling smoke. The monks and devotees of this temple, mortals, one and all, continue about their prayers as though your conversation addresses traffic or the weather, not the vacillations of undead magic. the abbot is unbothered. Tingsing regards you and Yinghe with those warm and unreadable black eyes, and when they speak, their words are solemn, but ringed with the barest touch of humor. I realize that my story might be a lot to take in, being a former member of House Drakar and all, but it's a river under the bridge now, I assure you. So, if the two of you are quite done asking me about magic and politics, might I proffer 2 questions of you of my own?
Certainly, it's the least we can offer back. Thank you.
Yes, questions are fine. And yes, thank you for answering our own queries. Wonderful! Then, the first question I would like to ask you is one that I offer every vampire. The first time they set foot in one of these temples. Would you like to know your destiny?
What?
What? Would you like to know your destiny?
Sayer looks at Yinghe, like, kind of confused, quizzically. He was taken aback by this. We see that Sayer has... his hair is still up in a bun, so he kind of, like, fidgets with the stray bits of hair that are coming off close to his ear. And he was expecting a question of, what is your relationship with Drakar? What do you think of Rhododendron? Who are you 3 really? You know, the kind of questions Nova gets frequently. And instead he gets this. And so he's puzzled and turns back to the abbot, and while fidgeting with a stray bit of his hair. I'm sorry, what do you mean by knowing destiny? Fortune telling?
Well, yes and no. Ha! Very astute of you, Sayer. You see, we were talking about dark gifts earlier, and mine is the ability to read people's fates. You see, a lifetime ago, I was a soothsayer, as you have quite cleverly picked up on, and I was rather practiced in the art of palmistry, if I do say so myself. Now that I have moved on to my second life, I have found that my abilities have been enhanced. And something that I do believe with every fiber of my soul is that everyone deserves to know what destiny has in store for them, so they can live their lives with intention and full acceptance of everything that might come their way, good and bad. So would you like to know your destiny?
Sayer bites the inside of his lip and he starts looking at the red thread on his finger. All his life he has been besieged by omens, by shadows of what may come. Now that it's taken a different form in a way that he doesn't quite yet see nor understand, he feels out of place, out of sorts. And also that's never really been offered to him. Choice. To choose to see, to choose to know. He's always been burdened by knowledge, by sight. And as he kind of like fidgets on this red thread, thinking of the terrifying, majestic visage of a stag-headed man with threads of fate torn upon his antlers, he glances over to Yinghe before answering. Yes. I would like that.
Very well. What about you, little crane?
Me?
You don't have to if you don't want to, Yinghe.
I want to know. Read my palm, too, please.
Very well. Then I'll start with you. And Tingsing turns to Yinghe. Gestures for Yinghe to pull a hand forward, and he does. Tingsing takes Yinghe's long, slender fingers in their own and goes, "May I?"
Yes.
Taps the fingers of their other hand underneath Yinghe's elbows and guides that arm up to their mouth, opens up their lips, and you see slender fangs come out, and gently, like this is a lover's kiss instead of a vampire feeding, the abbot slides those fangs into the hilt of Yinghe's palm. Yinghe doesn't stiffen so much as they relax into it. And as Tingsing bites and eats and feeds on the blood that spills out, you see their eyes cloud over completely with red blood. Somehow you just know that the blood clouding Tingsing's eyes belong to Yinghe as they drink, and the two of them sway in tandem on the spot. Yinghe's eyes flutter shut, their pupils roll up into the back of their head until their eyes are just whites, as the two of them share some sort of vision. And as they do, Tingsing speaks, but it's not with just their own voice, it's with Yinghe's layered over it, so it's a kind of double speak happening. And the abbot says, "Living shadows, a dead moon, an old woman, war, pain, union, peace." And then they break apart gently again, and like a leaf falling onto the surface of a river, Tingsing falls backward. And then their dog is there, their service animal. They're immediately bracing their body against Tingsing as they steady themselves so they don't hit the floor. Oh, thank you, Virgil. You, little crane, have quite an interesting destiny. And Yinghe kind of reels on the spot, instinctively reaches out to you, Sayer, and grabs onto your shoulder to steady themselves.
Sayer's already there, like chest to shoulder, holding onto Yinghe. He had been frightened the second those teeth laid into Yinghe. The second he saw Yinghe's eyes roll back, he was besotted with fear.
I'm okay. Those images. You saw my past.
Your past? Fascinating. Well then, yes, I did. And that does tell me something interesting about your future. Or rather, lack thereof.
What?
What do you mean?
Oh, don't worry, you're not going to die. At least, not yet. It's more so that your destiny has already come to pass. There's nothing else of note in store for you, little crane. Your karmic purpose has been served.
What do you mean by that?
All those images you saw, that was your fate. You were chosen. I could feel it. There is a moon goddess, a death, a ghost of it, shadows restored. You're done.
Done. What do I do next? What happens next for me?
Who's to say? Oh, but there is something. You should take better care of your hands, little crane. There's a worry line you've etched into your palm, caused by your own nails. It wasn't there before. You weren't born with it, nor were you ordained with it. Just fretting. Worry line. Perhaps, who knows? Perhaps you can carve your own path now, in the absence of a greater design.
Oh.
Little stag, would you like to know?
Sayer kind of like snaps up to look at the abbot. He's been staring at Yinghe's profile, just studying them. He's intaking this information from the abbot voraciously. serve their karmic purpose, already did their destiny, everything that they were fated to do, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but a little bit of sense too, because we helped, but surely there's more. And then the abbot pulls him. What? Oh, sure. Same thing.
Yes. Your hand, please.
And Sayer hands the abbot the hand where the red thread is tied to his finger.
The abbot's hands are cold as ice, just like yours. They tip two underneath your elbow and bring your palm up to them, and the fingers of their right hand brush briefly over that thread. Their head cocks in interest there, their eyes meet yours, and then their eyelids flutter and lower down to the base of your palm. Those fangs slide out silently and then sink into the hilt of your hand. Sayer, there's a sharp bite of pain, and then you also sink. You sink into water. No. Blood. Red. Blood. Swirling around you. You are thrashing, tossing. No, it's the blood itself that is thrashing and tossing around you. Your mouth falls open. No sound comes out. Blood comes in, and the red river pulls you under. There is a piercing pain in your left chest over that white birthmark. Sing, darkness. No more visions. Just nothing. You wake. You're on the floor. Yinghe is next to you. Tingsing is braced against Virgil, who barks a little, looks at you, and then braces against their owner. Oh my. Well, that was rather ominous, wasn't it? Sayer, are you okay? What happened? All the abbot and you, your voices layered together, all they said was doom. Over and over again, just doom, doom, doom.
That seems par for the course.
Oh, thank you, Virgil. Are you quite all right, little stag?
What was that?
Well, that was your destiny. I think you're going to die.
I think you're right.
What? What? What do you mean? Like, eventually, right? You said I was going to die too, eventually? No, it feels more imminent than eventually.
The river of blood.
Yes, the Red River. The one that cuts through Inferno, it represents death. It gave us our gifts, and it will take them away again.
That means here. And Sayer
Yes.
looks to Yinghe of, it has to be imminent because now is when we're here, not long-term future being here.
Yinka's shaking their head. They look over at the abbot. That can't... How sure are you? These are just visions, yes? But if we can see what's going to happen to us, surely we can avert what's about to occur? Well... There are two parts to an omen, you see. There is the omen itself, and then there is the interpreting of the omen. Right, yes, the interpreting. So, how certain are you that this means death? Quite certain. I could be wrong. Of course, I've been wrong before, but not often.
It feels right. And Sayers says that in a very odd tone, like a discordant chord on a piano. He's kind of retreated. His eyes, his mind have retreated somewhere into the dark recesses of his mind. And Sayer fusses over that red thread against his finger. It feels like what I think death would feel like. And when he says that, he thinks of Sing. He felt her death. He felt that part of his soul wrench away. So as far as he knows, this feels like death. And if it's doom that he chanted, it's an omen that he's had before. And when has his omens been wrong?
Seer, I need you to roll to advance the clock. The fate of Inferno. What
Alright.
action are you invoking?
Command.
Okay,
That's 1d6.
how many pips do you have in that? 2d6?
Just one. One.
Just one?
Just
Okay,
one.
roll. Roll for it.
Fuck you, Doom Dice. 6.
Okay, that is great. That's a tremendous amount of progress. You get to mark 3 wedges as well. We're down to 10 wedges in a single downtime moment. Love that. Sayer, this clarity of purpose, instead of dread, really, plummets into you as you awaken from this, as Yinghe helps pick you up back onto your feet. And now you and the abbot look at each other, you looking down at this slender vampire. They take in your acceptance of this with a nod. They're not surprised by this necessarily, but they are impressed. You see, this is exactly why I always offer supplicants, mortal and undead, if they would like to know their destinies. This, and they gesture at you. You know what might come to pass, with near certainty. And now, little stag, you are equipped to do with it what you may.
Your omens are pretty accurate, right?
The omens
your
themselves
experience.
never lie. The fault always resides in the interpretation of the omens. All we do know is that there is danger. Grave, unavoidable danger coming for you, little stag. And after the danger comes to pass, nothing else is clear.
Doom comes for us all.
Indeed it does. May we not weep in the face of the end, but walk into it, hand in hand as old friends.
Thank you, Abbot. And he looks towards the dog that's steadfastly by the abbot's side, and he says, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you."
Oh, oh no, no apology necessary. I've seen countless omens in my life and unlife. It doesn't hurt me. It brings me clarity. It brings all of us clarity. That's why we can speak so freely here in the temples. These mortal supplicants. There's a rather crude and demeaning term that the other houses use to refer to those. In Ula, blood bags is what they call them. I prefer supplicants. These are mortals who are aware of the veil between life and death, aware of the undead that walk among them, and agree to be fed upon as a kind of karmic rebalance. You see, when a mortal is fed on, they're brought closer to the Red River. It helps prepare their souls for everyone's inevitable fate. Speaking of feeding, the two of you seem quite parched.
Definitely, you seem very thirsty, Yinghe. I have a plan, some ideas of how we can help you out, and maybe begin narrowing down the scope of your blood type. And Sayer speaks like he always does, not like a man who's just received a terrifying set of news, deathly news. He's back to operations, to his purpose in Nova, and as a friend to Yinghe. I have a plan. Probably some sort of thrill seekers first. They seem easier to find, and once we do, we can at least give you something. And if they're not your blood type, well, then we're back to the drawing board. But at least you'll be okay.
Okay. I just... Abbott, I know that most of what you see seems to come to pass, and that you are quite sure that what this means is Sayer's death. But is there any possibility? And Sing Sing raises a hand. I am usually right, but I have been wrong. Perhaps it is death that comes for you, Sayer. Perhaps it is simply danger. Something is on its way to you. Be prepared. That seems to settle Yinghe a little bit more. They nod, they breathe out, and they turn back to you, Sayer. Yes, I am quite thirsty. I can hunt with you if you would like, or...
We'll hunt together.
I was going to suggest that you can take from one of our mortal supplicants, but it does seem like you're quite set on hunting, in which case I do insist that you hunt far away from the temple. That's all.
As you wish, Albert. But thank you
course.
for your offer. I think it's important that we hunt this night. You spoke about instinct. It's good to engage that, and a hunt is when your instinct is at its sharpest. Maybe we'll unearth the truth of our types.
I hope that you do. It has been quite a great pleasure meeting the two of you. Have a wonderful rest of your night. And Sayer, it's time for you and Yinghe to slake your thirst. So tell me, where in the city are you taking Yinghe to seek out your prey? And then make a roll using your weakest attribute. This will be your second downtime activity.
Okay, my weakest is always going to be a d6 because I have a few of those. So that's just what's going to end up happening. And I think the way that Sayer is moving about this is that his plan right now is to knock out some of these types as much as he can so that we can hone in on what Yinghe's type is. So I think he's looking for folks who are out and about, who are out to party, folks that are easier to find than maybe some of the more obscure ones like other vampires, which seems really dangerous, and he really hopes that's not Yinghe's type. And he's kind of taking Yinghe through different side streets. He's mimicking the Great Huntress. He's mimicking Artemis. He's marching forward. He fusses over patience on his wrist. And as he kind of like points out to like groups of people, folks who are walking in to parties, folks who are sat reading by a bus stop, he's trying every now and then between long periods of silence to engage with Yinghe and being like, how does this feel? Things that Artemis would ask him. What do you see? How do you feel? How is your heartbeat as you are approaching potential prey and things like that? And that's what he's trying to do. And that's how he'll attempt to hunt and slake his thirst.
Okay, so roll 1d6 for me. How much thirst do you have?
I have 2.
Okay. So we're hoping for a 2 or lower.
Yep. 1.
Okay, yeah, great, perfect. Yes, okay. Great. So you don't cause
My
even more
dice
trouble
give
than you
it
already
and
have.
taketh
Yes.
away.
They do. They roll low. They roll
low.
And in this case, it's a good thing. Okay. So before we get to you slaking your thirst, finding your prey, there's a moment where the two of you are exiting the temple and you've just spilled back into the street. The moon is high in the sky. It's nighttime, but that doesn't mean Inferno is sleeping. Far from it. These sidewalks are packed with people. These trees lumbering along streets, casting even darker shade over the night. And Yinghe is quiet, contemplative, but there's also a tension buzzing underneath the surface of that silence. You can feel the abbot's words within that tension. And before you set your sights on your prey, Yinghe abruptly stops. They just stop walking in the middle of the sidewalk and let the crowd kind of push past them.
Sayer, I think, took like a couple more steps and then hears that I think Sayer has been using his vampire senses, especially while Yinghe and himself have been walking, to hear Yinghe's footsteps. And he notices that the one thing he's been tracking has ceased. And he turns around and I think asks a practiced question that he's heard Artemis say in every hunt they've ever taken him on. What are you feeling?
Confused.
What's... And he kind of like steps closer. What's the matter? Are you getting a bead on your type? Is there someone here?
No, Sayer, I'm confused about you.
Me?
Yes. How can you be so blasé about the danger that you're in?
Sayer would typically not want to engage in this conversation, because to do so would be to be very open and vulnerable about how scared he is. But he has never been able to hide things from Yinghe, really. He's shared so much already. And this feels like he's being shucked open by Yinghe. I'm not being blasé about it. It's there in my mind. I know what the abbot said, and I know about the danger. I'm trying to come up with plans in my mind, Yinghe. Whatever is coming is danger to me, and danger to me means danger to Nova. If I am... Let's say, best case scenario, I don't get killed, right? But there is a moment in that omen where I'm covered in darkness. Do I pass out? Do I get taken out of the fight? I don't know. I don't even know. Nova is in danger. You are in danger. And I have to take it one thing at a time. We have to slake our thirst first, and then I must plan.
You're talking about this like you're all alone, like this is all on you. I don't understand you, Sayer. You're so confusing. It's just, I don't know if you even like me or not. Because sometimes when I'm with you, it's great, but then sometimes you'll randomly turn around while we're in the city of heaven and tell me to get lost. And then I show up again and you're acting like everything's normal. Now you're acting like you're doing all this by yourself. I don't understand.
Oh. That. And Sayer hears the flurry of emotions from Yinghe thrown at him, and that pries him open even more. He sees the pain in Yinghe's eyes, and he can't take it. His heart can't bear seeing that, and he kind of like steps closer, more forward, and he's just like, Yinghe, the city of heaven, I know I was really harsh to you. That's not what I wanted to say. That is not what I was...
What did you want to say? Just say it. What, you think I can't take it? If you don't like me, just tell me to get lost and I'll leave.
It's not a matter of like, Yinghe. It's not a matter of want. You followed us through every plane we have traveled in. And I love that. I love spending time with you. I love hanging out with you and sharing all the things that burden me. But our work is dangerous, Yinghe. Nova is in constant danger. I failed in the city of heaven. I failed to protect you twice. I failed to protect Zynon when he gets his head cracked open by the hammer of creation. Lumira was tossed off a goddamn rooftop. And Sing. I love Sing. And I love you. I couldn't protect my own sister. So what does that say about you? My love is not enough, Yinghe. My love is not enough.
Seer. Yinghe steps forward. Their hand goes up, wipes away a tear. When did you start crying, Seer? Wipes away a tear from your cheek. Seer, it's not your fault that Sing died. It's not anyone's fault. Sometimes tragedies just happen. That's just the way the world works. I saw it all the time on Zhiguang. So many people died during the war. Sometimes it's someone's fault, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes we can stop it, sometimes we can't. You can't beat yourself up because of it, Seer.
But it's my job. It's my calling. I'm meant to protect you all. That's what I've worked for my whole life.
Seer, we are meant to protect each other. Now, I haven't been a part of your strike team for very long, and I haven't been an agent of your organization very long either, but I do know one thing, which is that all of you stick together. You watch out for each other. You're not in this alone, Seer. I won't let you do this alone. And I know Zynon wouldn't either. And I know Lumira wouldn't either. And I know Sing wouldn't have either.
And Seer feels like a puddle. He feels he's just been turned into a mess of water as more tears kind of like flick down from both of his eyes. And he feels like he could, for a moment, hear Sing's voice in his left ear saying something, but just was not fast enough to catch it. He thinks about Zynon sitting on top of a manticrore's nest with him as we look down to the wild sea stars. He thinks about standing back to back with Lumira in the city of heaven as we are surrounded on all sides. And in this moment, I think Seir remembers that maybe they love him too. I'm sorry. I hurt you. And I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you for apologizing. But what would be better than an apology, Seir, is if you don't, and they kind of jab you in the chest. Not too hard, but just hard enough. Don't take that choice away from me again. I'm here because I want to be here. I know that things are gonna get dangerous. I signed up for it. I get to decide if I stay or if I leave. Okay?
Seir nods and asks one more time for himself. Is this what you really want? To be away from your home? Away from your people? Is that really what you want? You were chosen.
Always.
You were chosen, Yinghe. Do you just want to leave that all behind?
Zhiguang is always going to be my home. Nothing's going to change that. But I've suspected for a while now, ever since the four of you helped me, that my home doesn't need me anymore. And maybe what I need isn't to be in Shiguang, at least not right now. I mean, the abbot pretty much confirmed it, right? The use that they had for me, I've already served. I want to find my own use, my own path forward now. And I want to be here. I want to be here with Zynon. I want to be here with Glumira. And I want to be here with you.
Then I will not stop you. Then I will protect you.
And I'll protect you too. Also, did you say you loved me?
Sayer's eyes widen. His pupils shrink. His hands start shaking, and he feels like he is sweating. He is dead, and he feels like he is sweating, and heat is rising up into his face. What? What did I? Oh, well.
Yinghe's kiss is sudden, and it is soft, and it is cold. And then you feel their fingers wrap around your waist and pull you in as they tilt their head up, and with their other hand, weave it into that bun at the back of your head and pull you down, kissing you like they've always wanted to because they have. Kissing you like they need this.
And Sayer, in his clumsy, inexperienced form, hesitates for a moment, his hands shake, and then pulls Yinghe in and reciprocates the kiss, softly, gently. A boy finally being able to express his love in this way.
And Sayer, even through the end of the kiss, even through the hunt, even through the mouthfuls of blood the two of you share together, eyes locked on each other, the one thing you cannot forget that does not leave you all the way back to Elegy Apartments is the feeling of her mouth, her lips, her teeth against yours.
He loves me back.
We're gonna go to break there. Thank you all so much for tuning in so far. That was gay as hell. Doom and Gloom Canon. We'll be back in just about 5 or 10 minutes. We love you all so much. Stay tuned. Enjoy the sponsor reel while we're gone. Spisho. time it is. It's sponsor Connie time with a word from Hero Forge. Hero Forge has officially leveled up with kit bashing. When you become a pro member, you can place up to 20 more items anywhere on one of your Blorbos with their own independent scaling, rotation, and movement. You can make your character look exactly as they should, even if the specific clothing or accessory option isn't available at the base level. You just have to get a little creative. And because I love you, Transplanters, here's a special sneak peek at a kit bashed version of Oblivion. Just look at those wings and that base. This would not be possible without the power of kit bashing. The combinations are literally endless, and you can print your kit bashed Blorbos as plastic minis, standees, digital STL files, or even Hero Forge's brand new color statuettes. Color statuettes are twice the size of a regular mini, and just look at this. I mean, look at how massive this is, and especially in comparison to a regular mini, you can really get into all the nooks and crannies and details that wouldn't be as apparent on a regular sized mini. Just look at how Oblivion dwarfs Oka here. And also, if you're a GM, consider busting out one of these bad boys during a boss fight to really get your players shaking in their boots. Oblivion agrees. Unlock the true power of Hero Forge with a Hero Forge Pro subscription starting at $3.99 a month. Get in there and start creating at bit.ly/transforge. Now, let's get back to the show. Or more likely, just more of the waiting room. Trust in her will.
time attack.
Hello, everypony, and thank you so much for banishing my tummy ache. It worked! For now. I'll let you all know if it comes back. But until then, let's just hop right back into the session with content warnings. Content warnings for part 2 of the stream may include fantasy violence, blood, death, grief, trauma, vampirism, body horror, neck gore, romance, references to sex, complex character dynamics, depictions of floods, and mentions of spiders. If you're on Twitch, use !CW to look at these content warnings at any time. Otherwise, if you're on YouTube or TikTok, our mods will be dropping content warnings when content seems to be coming up that matches it. We are a dark fantasy series, so just be warned that some of this stuff may be rather serious. And with that out of the way, let's get right back into the session. Zynon, you return to Elegy Apartments first. The living room is empty. As you set foot inside, a welcome respite from the grease and the steam and the blood of kissing up to House Kubatoon. The hour is late, the moon is high, dawn is a memory away, close enough for you to be mindful of rest soon, but not so close that you can't while away some time in thoughtful study. Where do your feet lead you in the apartment?
Zynon enters, puts his hat on the hook that seemingly is perfect for it, takes his jacket and his kimono off, puts them in the closet, as he should, walks past the dining table and towards the door. He's gonna go take his harness off, finally, after a day of sweating into it, and maybe, I don't know, see if there's a change of clothes.
That's nice. Yeah, you are quite eager to get out of these sweat and grease and steam and blood spattered clothes. And Zynon, as you draw closer to your shared bedroom with Sayir, you hear noises beyond the threshold, muffled noises, but they're quite insistent. And when you turn the knob and you push open the door, you see Sayir and Yinghe. Very entangled, very busy.
Oh. Zynon stops at the threshold, takes all this in for just a moment, and then recedes back and closes the door.
The door closes behind you, and the noises once again grow muffled. The soundproofing here is actually very impressive. And Zynon, your bedroom, every part of the bedroom is quite occupied right now, so how do you spend your time?
Well, given that he's not interested in putting on worn hanfu that's scattered around his room, Zynon is going to excuse himself and go to the living room and find something to do. So the first thing that catches his eye around the living room is the bookshelves. Books are something to do that isn't changing clothes, so he'll just sit and read until he has access to anything again.
Books are something to do. Something to do. And then you hear something rattling in the knob. Key. Lumira's key. Thank the gods. Lumira's key. The knob is turning. Lumira's coming in.
Zynon stops, turns to look at the door. I think he takes a moment to just, like, look over the bookshelves and try and, like, grab something quickly before going over and kind of intercepting Lumira, because it's quiet. It's not that quiet.
What? I have a paper that is due in less than a week.
Do you have a way to write that?
Of course, I just have to go to
They're
my room
busy.
and get my laptop.
All right,
Who's
do that.
busy?
Zaire and Yinghe are occupied.
And Lumira's face just... it goes through a bevy of emotions, and you can see them dance across her face as fast as you see them show up before she steals herself. Good for them. And she turns and walks to her room to go grab her laptop.
You hear
without
those
much
muffled
else.
noises briefly as you walk into the shared corridor, you grab your laptop, and you go back into the living room.
Lumira
Any
has a pair of
recommendations?
headphones she sticks into her ears before, and she starts working on her paper, but then looks up and sees Zynan's lips moving in her direction before she takes one of her headphones back out again. Were you talking to me?
Zynon is looking at the wall of books, and I don't know that you've ever seen Zynon, besides the one instance in the library, reading a book at all. And so he's looking over the wall of books that belong to, I guess, us? And, is asking, well, do you have any recommendations?
Since when do you leisurely read? You know,
I guess now?
fair enough. And Lumira will walk over to the bookshelf, and she can't help but grimace just a tad as she's fingering the spine of each book with her index finger, looking through.
And Lumira, one of the titles jumps out at you. It's a familiar one, actually. It's the one Zynon was reading back at the Syndicate, the one you walked in on him reading. It's here now. The title reads Passions of the Godspine.
Well, this seems as good as any other. And Lumira will pluck it off the bookshelf and hand it over to Zynon. Read your smut book.
Oh. Of course this is here. Why wouldn't it?
You didn't bring it?
I guess I did. I mean, it was in my stuff, but and he motions to the, like, vampire hunter harness that he's wearing and otherwise relatively trim clothes. I guess fate put it here for me. Perfect. You know, I think I'm gonna go and go for a little walk with this. You wanna maybe go upstairs? Give them some time.
Lumira nods curtly, mouth so tight, barely, like, very thin lip smile, and she'll go over to her laptop and kind of snap it shut. It might be a little harder than she was expecting to do it, and she'll pick it up and walk over to the door. Ready?
Zynon files that away, just walks quietly, grabs his coat, doesn't put it on, doesn't even pick up his hat. We're home. And kind of just walks up. Let's go.
So
And
Zynon and Lumira, go ahead.
The moment that they clear the threshold and the door is closed, he looks down at her and asks, "You alright?"
Yep. Way too quick, way too fast.
The two of you head upstairs. You are already at the top floor of Elegy Apartments, which means the only upstairs that remains is the roof. You are able to find the roof access stairway and hutch quite easily, and you step out onto a furnished rooftop. It's quite nice up here, actually. You see a sturdy timber pergola framing a sitting area with potted plants. There's a tiled stone floor, and you see aluminum furniture here to weather any sort of weather. You see a table, a bench, some chairs, and you even see a wicker ottoman next to an overflowing ashtray. Whoever also uses this rooftop smokes a lot. And on the other side of this roof, you see a tenacious little urban garden that someone has clearly put a lot of love into, with elevated wooden beds of various blooming veggies. The breeze washes over you as the two of you let the roof access door close behind you, and beyond the roof itself, you see a sweeping view of the neighborhood that surrounds you. Concrete streets lit by flickering lampposts. You see the tall, dark silhouettes of trees lining the sidewalk, the red taillights of cars flitting between buildings, and the wind carries the sweet, musty smell of dead leaves and exhaust all the way up here.
It's like a hive, the city.
I can see that. Always consistently moving, never resting. Small, tight, contained within its own quarters. Astute observation, Zinon. And Lumira makes herself comfortable in like the big wicker chair, folding her feet beneath her and sets her laptop across her lap. And she's there. It's almost like she has one foot in the conversation with Zinon and the other one directly in her paper. And when she learned to type so fast like this, who knows? But her fingers, you hear the clack of keys as her fingers are sliding across the keyboard, the tips of her fingernails making that acrylic sound across the keys.
Zinon makes himself comfortable, seeing her working and never being one to interfere with that, especially with Lumira. He keeps himself a little bit busy by pursuing whatever is inside this book. Sure, he's reading The Passions of the Godspine by Dalapathy Saeed. It seems a bit florid in his taste. But yeah, he's not reading the text. Sure, he's reading the text, but the thing that he is drawn to is if they are in there on the plane of Inferno, the annotations.
They sure are. They've followed you here to this plane of existence. As you take your seat, presumably also around the table, close to Lumira, you crack open the spine and you resume where you kind of left off last time you were here, in the middle of a chapter. What's happening in the book itself is rather contrived. There's some fake dating arc in this location called the Championship of Nabal, where the heroine and their latest love interest of the week is attending a masquerade ball and pretending to be dating each other to get information about whatever plotline is happening. But what does draw your attention and in fact illuminates your perception are the margins crammed full of notes in this particular scene. You recognize Artemis's handwriting, and you also recognize Han Wuyin's handwriting. They are writing notes back and forth to each other. They're arguing in the margins about what's happening in the scene. And on the surface, what you're reading, what they're arguing about, is Wuyin really doesn't like the love interest. He thinks that he doesn't belong with the heroine, that he's her, again, flavor of the week, that this love interest feels like a totally different author came up with him, and that this plotline sucks. Artemis is very staunchly and tersely defending the love interest. She's telling Wuyin to give him a chance, that he might grow on the reader if he opened up his mind, and that he deserves the opportunity to dance at the ball with the heroine, just like Wuyin's favorite love interests do.
I think the first thing that strikes Zinon about it at all is Wuyin disliking literally anyone. And especially disliking a party. Someone at a party? It's very uncharacteristic of Ta to dislike anyone. And I think he reads those notes in particular in the exchange, and with some interest not only towards Wuyin, but also Artemis defending what is essentially a tawdry novel. He's completely fascinated and trying to almost see through the words, and knowing what he knows about trans, knowing what he knows about the hands, is trying to see what they're getting at, what the heart of this disagreement really is, because there's no way they're arguing about a kind of passing love interest in a strange novel from somewhere.
Sure. You can roll. You're gonna have to roll to figure out
Yeah.
exactly what's happening here. Your position will be controlled because there's no risk here of just parsing the text, but your effect will be limited. Because whatever code, whatever cant the hands are writing in is completely beyond you at this moment.
Yeah.
So what action would you like to invoke?
I think it's gonna have to be survey.
Survey. Okay, sounds good. How many pips do you have in that?
1.
Okay, roll 1d6. Remember, even if you get a 6, it's gonna be a limited effect.
It's a 5.
A 5. Okay, so that is a partial success. So you read the text, and obviously it's not just about the love interest or just about the plot line. There's something else at hand here, too. Wu Yin and Artemis are arguing about every element of this scene. What the heroine's wearing, how the love interest is behaving, the decor at the party. It goes on and on and on. This is clearly a very important disagreement that they have, and you notice that the ink is rather old. Can't exactly place it with a mixed success. It could be a decade old, 2 decades old, you're not sure. But whatever this argument was, it was some time ago. And it ends abruptly. There's like no resolution to it. No side seeds. They're ground. It just ends.
I think, given the age of it, Zynon starts to thumb back in his mind of what he knows and thinks of anything significant within that time frame, and the only thing he can come up with, whether it is logical or not, is the person that he just left down in the apartment. And it sticks in his mind, and I think to the point where he dislikes it and closes the book.
As you close the book and mull on it, and Lumira, you're clack, clack, clack working on this paper, you want to impress the professor. You want to be more than just adequate. Both of you hear a kind of distant
What is that?
It's getting a little louder.
Lumira, already starting to grow frustrated with her paper, kind of slams the lid shut on the laptop again and gets up in a huff. What now? What now?
It's getting louder and louder and louder, closer to you. It's coming from the side of the building?
Okay, scale-wise, how loud is it?
Very loud. Extremely loud. And getting louder.
Lumira, you see something, I think, very quickly as Zynon starts to become uneasy. All this talk of the other parts of the city that he does not understand earlier this evening kind of creeping in, and a bullet falls out from under his hair. And another one. As he steps closer, they trail behind him towards whatever that sound is.
You're going toward the edge of the roof?
Yep.
Okay, Zynon, you stand up and you start walking. Lumira, you hear a tink, tink, tink on the floor as these silver baubles start falling from Zynon's head. You look at the ground and you see malformed, half-shaped shell casings. These aren't fully formed spendable rounds, Zynon. They're half-made, not quite there, not quite full yet. You take a step closer and closer and closer to the roof, and Sayir, in the middle of your activities with Yinghe, your partner suddenly pulls away and pauses. What? Wait, did you hear that?
Sayre snaps towards his head towards the side. Do I hear anything?
Both of you do, in fact. You don't just hear something, you see something. There's a window here. And you haven't drawn the blackout curtains yet, because there's no need to. But then the two of you see something flush past the window from the bottom to the top, just very quickly. It rattles the frame of the window, a gray blur, and it's gone.
What the fuck was that?
Zynon and Lumira, back on the roof. A massive claw, reaches over the red brick lip of the roof. 5 talons, each the length of your arm, bite into the brick, crumbling pieces of it onto the tiled floor, and lifting itself into full view, the sheer size of its head blotting out the rapidly waxing moon, is the werewolf. Gray fur, tough and impenetrable like barbed wire bristles from a lean, muscular form bound in ropes of sinewy muscle, it lands on the roof with surprising agility given its enormous form. Strips of clothing, once human, dangle from its body, the shredded memory of a corduroy jacket, the vague suggestion of jeans. It is 9 feet tall, with a vaguely humanoid body, jagged ears swivel atop an enormous head, glowing yellow eyes fix onto the two of you, and an old scar runs across a muzzle the size of a truck's front grille. And when it speaks, you catch a flash of razor-sharp canines, each the size of your hand. Found ya.
Run!
The werewolf pummels toward you. It punches into you, and it will slam you to the ground. And you are going to take damage here, Zynon. At least level 2. Would you like to resist it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can resist any consequence, including harm. There will be harm from this at any time.
Yeah.
It's automatically effective. You just have to make a resistance roll to see how much thirst it costs you. So tell me how you're trying to maneuver out from being absolutely just shredded by these claws as it pummels into you.
I think Zynon, he resists it, but by moving towards it, he is trying to body this attack, and in doing so, trying to actually move between any like claws and seeing Heliga's injuries in his head, trying to think of how to avoid the maw as much as possible.
Okay, so you're basically gonna be able to slip past them and maybe only just get like rudimentarily grazed, not enough to take harm though, because your resistance will allow you to do that. So I'm gonna choose the attribute here. It's gonna be body. So roll your attribute rating.
All right.
You currently have 0 thirst, right? You're well fed?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not cutting any dice.
That's a 6.
That's great. So it's not gonna cost any thirst, actually, because you do really well. You would have taken off 6 thirst, and it was only gonna cost you 3. So it was gonna cost you 6, and you remove all of it. So you move toward it as it pummels into you, and you slide past a huge snapping maw, and those raking claws that just dig into the tiled floor and create gouge marks half a foot deep and multiple feet long all over the stone. And then now you're between its legs, but then it snaps its head back to look at you with, again, frightful agility. For how huge this thing is, it's really fast. Maybe even faster than you. Lumira, what do you do?
I think Lumira is stuck still for a moment as she heard Zynon's instruction to run, and she did turn to do so before she saw that flash of fur, and it was on top of Zynon. Now she's stuck in her spot. She doesn't want to leave him. So when she sees that he's kind of navigated his way out from underneath, her eyes are wide and frantic. And the first thing, before she even thinks about it, it's almost second nature to her at this point. She just looks you directly in your eyes and it's like, we need Seer.
Panic in his eyes, yes, he nods.
Lumira, as you say this wolf turns back around onto Zynon, but instead of pummeling at you, it picks up with one hand one of the huge, heavy elevated garden beds, rips it up out of its foundation as stone crumbles off of it, and goes, "I don't think so," and hurls it in both of your direction. The bed is so long that it might catch both of you in it. So Zynon and Lumira, it's gonna hit both of you and pummel the two of you off of the edge of the roof. Would both of you like to resist this?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna need you both to make a
Bonnie,
resistance roll
threatens your
again.
life. Do you want to resist it?
I mean, I always have to ask. I gotta ask because of the system. So both of you are well fed, which means you're not cutting any dice. This is going to be body again. You're going to suffer 6 thirst unless you roll a 6 to mitigate that. So both of you roll how many pips you have in body. What did you get? Oh no, it's excited.
I
What'd you
rolled
get,
a
Lumira?
6.
A 6. Perfect. What about you, Zynon?
2 1s.
That's not good. That's not good at all. Let's do Lumira first. How do you resist this as this huge garden bed comes flying at you, soil going everywhere? It's gonna impact you in half a second.
I think Lumira, one thing about Lumira, she's always been able to, even when everything is, all senses, danger and everything has been heightened, she's always had this very perceptive ability to slow down real time in her mind's eye. So when she sees this massive garden bed coming for her and Zynon, she does a quick assess around the area to see if there's any way she can move to get out of it. Doesn't find one. So the next best thing is to just drop to the ground. And I think Lumira, almost like Matrix style, as the flower bed is coming towards her, leans back as it just barely brushes across her face.
I love that. Zynon, how do you avoid it? Because even though you rolled low, you still avoid it. You just mark a lot of thirst.
Yeah. I think the whole thing kind of has him a little bit uneasy because he's so comfortable. But I think that the garden bed comes flying at the same moment that he goes to reach for literally anything on his utility belt. He's so desperate, he's just running on instinct, and he reaches back, and his hand is actually on the spyglass on his hip that Lumira gave him.
Okay.
And he just doesn't fully move out of the way fast enough because he's so caught up in trying to do something, anything.
Okay, yeah. So what your resistance roll means is you will resist any consequence automatically. So you won't get hit by this thing and you won't get punched over the edge of the roof. You're just marking thirst because of it. So how are you dodging out of the way of this flower bed?
I think he sees it just at the very last second and drops to the ground. Just fully drops under it. Because he and like is fully like looks down at his hand and is like, why am I holding a spyglass? And is now still in the fight.
Yeah, totally. You drop down, Lumira does a back bend, and there's like a moment in slow-mo as this flower bed arcs over the air, and then it goes over the edge of the roof. There's half a second, and then you hear a crash, and then a car alarm go off, and some glass shatter. And Seir and Yinghe, I assume the two of you have like run in the direction of the noise.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Sayer
Okay.
didn't have enough time to put on a shirt. He just threw on some sweatpants and is charging up the stairs, parkouring.
Yes. Yinghe's Hanfu is like half undone, right? So like part of it is off of their shoulder, and that is when the two of you bust open the door onto the rooftop, and you see this massive fucking lycanthrope having just hucked an entire flower bed over the edge of the roof, and Lumira and Zynon both on the floor, right, having avoided it. And as soon as the door opens, one of those huge ears swivels in your direction without missing a beat. This werewolf digs its claws into the foundations of the roof and lifts up a slab of concrete. It rips up a stone tile, throws it up into the air, and punches it into you and Yinghe's direction. Would you like to try to not get smashed by this thing?
Absolutely, and as soon as Sayer crested the threshold of the rooftop, he yells out, Nova! And I will attempt to resist this.
Okay.
Boop, boop.
Body, please.
I want to wreck it with my body. Let's go.
Yep. Yep,
What
yep,
is
yep.
it? Okay, so I can choose, right? Oh, it's this two. It just says
No,
two.
I
Yes.
for a resistance roll, I tell you the attribute. It's unlike
Okay.
an action roll. It's going to be
Yeah,
body.
so I've got 2d6 in this one.
Okay,
Great.
that's good.
6.
Okay, so you don't suffer any thirst. Do you just tank this? How do you get
Yeah.
rid of this threat?
Sayer, because I think, because Hanfu's is so long, and especially if it's half done, Yinghe is at a disadvantage in avoiding something. So Sayer fully like steps in front of Yinghe and just bodies it.
You punch it. I assume you throw your fist forward, right? And this rock breaks like a wave crashing against a harbor. It breaks in half around you as you protect Yinghe, and either side of the slab onto the ground. This huge werewolf, one of those yellow eyes widens in, not necessarily, it's not respect, it's not impressed, but it is curious about you. And
Hey!
its eyes turn to you like it's eyeing a new chew toy.
Hey, Dogface! Me! Let's go!
Okay, this is gonna be fun. And it drops onto all fours and comes at you like a fucking tank.
Wait.
Hold on.
Okay.
on.
Okay,
Hold the fuck.
all right. Go ahead, Lumira.
I'm ready.
Lumira sees it getting ready to start charging. That look in its eye when Sayer just blasted through that entire piece of concrete. And she's not 100% sure where it comes from. But she just looks directly at this werewolf. Her eyes are wide and terrified, but her body stature gives confidence. And she looks at it and goes, "Now why on earth would you break up this perfectly good rooftop when we clearly can just have a conversation?" I'm gonna use my new ability that I got with my level up.
Okay.
The Old Tongue. You know the secret methods of consorting with creatures and paranormal entities, no matter how wild or feral they are. I'll gain a +1 effect when communicating with anything non-human.
Okay. So you're trying to talk this thing down? Okay.
Indeed.
So I'm gonna tell you that your position here is risky. And your effect is 0. But because of your gift, it will be limited instead.
Okay.
Okay, what would you still like to roll for this? Would you still like to attempt this course of action?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
I
so
still
what
like-
action are you
sure.
using?
Shit, let me pull up the actions.
Command, consort, sway? Those seem very feasible, but you could argue any.
I don't have anything in any of those, but I'm still gonna try. Let's do sway.
Sway, sounds good. So that's going to be 2D and you take the lower. And you cannot crit on this.
Fair enough. I don't crit anyway. 2.
Okay, that is going to be a bad outcome. As you say this, this werewolf pauses briefly as it was lumbering towards Sayer, snaps its head over its shoulder in your direction, and just lets out a I'm afraid we're way beyond the point of talking. Lumira. I'm here to teach the 4 of you a little lesson in pain. And it lunges for Sayer.
Seeing this werewolf square up to Nova and holding that spyglass ignites something in Zynon that he does not fully understand, but he's been literally sweating bullets. And as he stands there holding the spyglass, he raises it up. And from the black ink tattoo of cracks that just ever so slightly cover the gift of creation given to him in the city of heaven, black ink turns into molten gold that runs down his arm that matches the brass of the finely made scope that Lumira made for him, that lives mounted on the top of a rifle that none of you have ever seen. But it's the rifle that Zynon learned how to shoot with, that he holds in his hands, made of molten gold, and he raises it up with silver bullets mounted in it, and he just says, "I'd think that over if I were you."
It completely ignores you and barrels into Sayer. So
Great.
those... Are you gonna shoot? You're gonna pull the trigger?
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna pull the trigger as it collides into Sayer. So I'm gonna resolve you trying to shoot this thing first. So your position here is risky. Your effect is... You're using silver bullets?
Yep. As
Did you
part of
manifest
his,
them from
arcane
your
implements?
head? Okay. Does it tell you how many bullets you have?
No, it just... I have a fine-ranged weapon,
Okay.
and I have arcane implements, which in this case are monster hunting tools.
Okay, so I'm gonna first, before we do anything else, have you roll 2d6 to see how many bullets you have on your person.
Okay.
How many silver bullets?
4 total.
4 total? Okay, you have 4 bullets. That's not bad. So your effect here will be standard.
Okay.
What action are
And,
you using?
I would like to also... I have my sharpshooter ability that saved us during the assassination attempt. And so I will push myself as I attempt to hunt this monster. More monster hunters,
Okay.
aren't we?
You will take 2 thirst and gain plus 1d in that case. So what action
Yes.
are you using?
And it also will push me, for the record, up to 8 thirst. Woof.
Jesus Christ.
That's not good. You've got only like 1 box left, right? Okay.
Yep, correct. But the sharpshooter ability, I have to push myself to use it. And I can unleash a barrage of rapid fire to suppress your target.
Okay. Noted. So why don't you tell me does this just work, or do you gotta roll for it?
No, I still have to roll.
Okay, got it.
I push myself for the roll.
Got it. Understood. So what action are you using?
Hunt.
Great. So what is the total D in that pool?
3 with the pushing.
Go for it. Roll 3d6. Tell me the highest. And if you get a crit.
Highest is only a 4. That's rough.
That is rough. Okay, but you still have standard effect. That's partial success. There's a cost, complication, or consequence that comes your way. You fire off suppressive fire. So what does it look like as you pull the trigger on this rifle multiple times, I assume?
Yes. So I think he's gonna shoot. I think all 4 of those bullets. Honestly.
Okay. Where are you aiming?
The goal is to avoid possibly hitting Seer and Yinghe.
Okay.
And if there's like a nice square shot at her back, that would be the one time that he would actually shoot her, but the rest of it is meant to be kind of scare her off a little.
So not actually shooting her.
Well, one of them.
Okay, one of them will at least land on her. Okay, yeah, that does happen because you are leveraging this ability. One of them goes straight into her back, and another one grazes her shoulder. The other one lodges into her shoulder. The other one lodges like right above her tail. Like, she staggers at that. Those bullets pack a punch. She staggers forward from each shot. And instead of grabbing onto Sayer, she lets out a and like stops mid run because she was on all 4s at this point. She kind of does like a motorbike side slide, scrapes her claws into the ground. And the consequence is she's gonna turn those yellow eyes onto you, Zynon. She's no longer interested in hunting the physically strongest in your party, but you instead. And she lets out a silver bullets. What are you doing with a hunter's tools, vampire?
Well, it doesn't matter. Contrary to popular belief, silver bullets aren't our Achilles heel. They'll just be able to penetrate our armor. Nothing more. Nothing less.
And she starts running at you. Sayir, she's quite close to you when she's literally turned tail and has gone for your teammate. What do?
I want to attempt to body slam her into the ground. He hears Zynon and Lumira's plea, and I think he has like his right arm cocked and ready to like pummel her in the face. Here's Lumira and Zynon's plea and attempt to de-escalate. He pulls back that arm and holds up his left arm with patience and is going to hook under her armpit and attempt to like wrestle move, like suplex her onto the ground so you can hold her down.
Okay, sounds good. So, what action are you using?
I am going to use fucking wreck, baby.
Okay,
Violent Dorian, everyone.
Let's go.
Your position here is risky. Your effect is limited. She is much bigger than you.
She
so
sure is.
Roll however many do you have in that pool.
So, interesting. Is there a moonlight?
Yeah, there's moonlight shining down on this entire roof.
That is an additional D6 for me.
Okay.
So I have 3D6 right now.
Okay, go for it.
Oh, there's a 6. I'm rolling really well today, y'all. 6.
Yes, that is good. That is a full success. So your effect is still limited. You do not suplex her, but you do grab onto her back as she's running towards Zynon. So you're hitching, you grab onto the back of this wolf and you're like, oh, like she's a fucking bronco. And it hurts, Sayir. Her fur is like barbed fucking wire and it bites into you. You're going to take a lowest tier harm of scratched. You're kind of just getting like raked across by her wiry fur. Would you like to resist this or are you going to take it?
I'll resist this, yeah.
Okay, that's going to be a resistance roll. That's going to be body.
Body. All right, I got 2 in here.
Roll for it.
Yeah, I'll roll for it. Please. 5.
Okay, so you're gonna suffer 1 thirst. You don't get scratched up, but it is like bracing in your face. And then she pummels into Zynon. Zynon, you're out of silver bullets. This thing is coming at you, and it lunges up onto its like rear legs as though Sayir weighed nothing on her back, and she's gonna chomp down on one side of your shoulder with that huge maw, exactly the same way presumably that she did to Caliga. Would you like to resist this?
If you tried, it would do more harm than good.
Okay. So I know, because you're at 8 thirst. You're at 8 thirst, so you're not gonna roll the dice on that. There is a searing pain as these huge teeth rip into your shoulder. And I need you to take a tier 2 harm, wolf bitten, as you have this huge bite mark now, like just on your shoulder. That's not it. She doesn't let go. Like a fucking alligator, she picks you up off of your feet and starts thrashing you around like you're a fucking chew toy.
Zynon goes a little limp, and like the monsters that he thought of when he saw Caliga the first time, he thinks of all the things that hunt in the night on Kiseki. And how sometimes hunters just die.
Yep. That remembrance of mortality flashes in your eyes as like the entire world blurs as you're being like thrashed around in the mouth of this thing. Lumira, you are now the person who is furthest away from the wolf, you and Yinghe. And as you take a moment here, you take in a beat, you're able to notice details about this wolf that might have escaped you if you were in the shit with it. Would you like to study this wolf a little bit closer or do something else?
Oh no, I would absolutely love to study this wolf a little bit closer. I'd actually like to use Gift of the Fang, if at all possible.
Okay, so why don't you read out the text of Gift of the Fang for me again?
Yeah, absolutely. +1 to study or survey. When I study someone for an uninterrupted and extended period of time, I uncover a small secret. However, after I use the move, I can't use it again on them and they become inoculated to the analysis.
Okay, would you like to use that move right now? Uncover that secret? Okay.
Yes.
What does it look like as you're analyzing her?
I think Lumira has been analyzing her this entire time throughout her scuffle with Sayir, throughout the scuffle with Zynon. And I think if anyone was looking at Lumira closely, once Zynon goes limp, her eyes narrow to slits. Her pupils are pinpricks as she's watching every sinewy muscle, every breath that this wolf takes, every step. She's watching how they balance their weight when they move from one side to the other. What hand, if they're right-handed or left-handed, if they were more dominant on one side as opposed to the other. She's combing over this wolf with a fine-tooth comb, looking for any secrets, any vulnerabilities, any weaknesses that can easily be exploited at this point in time. Her concern is Zynon.
Exploited? That remains to be seen, but you do uncover something very interesting and horrifying, Lumira. This wolf? She's holding back. She's not fighting to kill. She hasn't been. If she was, you'd all be dead by now. She's just fighting to maim. She's playing with you all. That realization sets in, and then you notice Yinghe starting to move toward her, not having noticed the same thing that you did.
She immediately puts her hand out by Yinghe. Don't go yet. No. What?
But Sayir and Zynon, they're in...
She's holding back. If she wanted us dead, we would be now. She's playing.
What? Sayir! And this wolf drops Zynon. You are bloodied, you are mangled, and then she goes,
Don't think I've forgotten about you.
and a huge limb comes back, grabs onto you, and rakes across your body. Right across your back to throw you onto the ground. Would you like to
I
resist
rushed
this?
Zynon inside.
I will attempt to resist this, yes.
Okay, Lumira, you're running towards Zynon, who's just been let go. You are resisting this, so I need you to roll body against here.
I will. I'm going to invoke my fun Gift of the Moon and add a D to this because it's all rolls made in the light of the moon.
Jesus. Okay, yeah, sounds
Jesus.
Hey.
good.
That's a 3.
You're suffering 3 thirsts. What are you back up to?
Hungry.
Okay, you're hungry now. So you are able to fend off this huge claw, like not get gashed open by it, but you are tossed off of her body, slammed onto the ground, and from the momentum of it, you roll, and you hit the base of one of those wooden beams, forming a mini roof up here. And Lumira, you've reached Zynon's side. As soon as you come in, this wolf rears back and lets out a roar. It's so loud that it kind of shakes the air around all of you, and she almost seems to be empowered by this roar, because the next thing she does is swell up and start just pounding her fucking fists chaotically around you, trying to get all of you, because all of you are now near her. Yinghe had followed Lumira as well, so all of you are going to take a tier 2 level of harm. Would you like to resist that?
Yes.
Zynon, it's not you're gonna fill up that second box under your tier 2 harm, Zynon. So those of you resisting, roll body.
Just one, right?
That's however many pips you have in that attribute.
Okay.
I assume it is
Okay.
a 1 for you, Lumira. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Gift of the Moon.
Dose.
Okay.
2.
6. Okay, so you don't suffer anything, Sayir, thankfully. Lumira, you suffer 4 thirst. As you are able to, maneuver your way out of these, pummeling, pounding fists from this howling wolf. And she's not just howling now, she's laughing. She is having so much fun. Lumira, you've reached Zynon's side. Sayir, Yinghe is by you now. As this wolf stops pummeling, kind of lowers back down. She's now within biting distance of all of you and says...
You shouldn't have come within snapping distance of my jaws, little vampires. I am going to kill each and every one of you very slowly. I'm going to take my time with it. The house.
Why?
You shouldn't have messed with the houses, little vampires.
She opens her mouth, it starts to come down, and then... Hey! The voice comes from the roof access door behind all of you. This wolf pauses, an ear flicks in its direction. The voice keeps going. Hey, listen! You don't have to do this, friend, okay? Like the very smart lady said earlier, let's just all calm down and talk this through, yeah? This wolf turns around with a snarl of irritation and annoyance and a little bit of bloodlust. New toys for her to chew on? And all four of you see, standing at the door to the roof, two complete strangers. One of them is a lean, sharp-eyed mortal with pale skin and tousled brown hair. Their face is grim, striking all angles and ferocity. A hand-rolled cigarette dangles from their mouth. They wear a distressed leather jacket, ripped jeans, and heavy combat boots ringed with steel. They're also holding a 9mm pistol, pointed directly at the wolf. The other person, who is the one who called out, is a woman. Her eyes are black, bright, friendly, almost, considering the situation. And despite the autumnal chill, she wears a sleeveless black hoodie that exposes a gray sports bra and a pair of loose-fitting joggers cinched at the ankles above white sneakers. She's 6 foot something, muscular, broad, with messy black hair and snow-white underlights. Her hands are raised in an attempt at peace. And at this point in your journey, you've met a lot of huge, imposing women. And while this person is one of them, she's not the largest. Until the werewolf you're fighting snorts in derision.
Beat it, Girl Scout. Unless you'd like me to rip you apart too.
And at that, the woman sighs, slowly lowers her hands. Well, can't say I didn't try. And then she transforms. Rip! Her skin and her clothes shred to accommodate the rapid change. Crack, crack, crack. Her bones snap into new formations. Her flesh bulges. Teeth elongate. Nails harden into claws the size of medieval great swords. And now, towering above all of you is another werewolf 13 feet tall, bristling with razor-sharp, bulletproof white fur, and now this person is officially the largest woman you've ever met. And the other, smaller werewolf goes, "Oh, fuck!" And the white wolf barrels into her. And we're gonna end the session there. Thank you all so much for tuning in so far to the Chaos Protocol. We love you all so much. I've been Connie Chung, your game master and creative producer, pronounced they, he, and she. I'm gonna pass along introductions to Valiant Dorian.
Hello, everybody. My name is Valiant. Love kills Dorian. I use him, his pronouns. You can find me all around the internet at Valiant Dorian or at Also Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure hunt I just set you on. Tonight, I have the distinct pleasure of playing Sayir, Loverboy Sayir, who uses he, they pronouns. I'm gonna pass it on over to twice bitten werewolf motherfucker sign in.
Bloody puddle, Zayn Esh. Hi everyone, I'm Kai. You can find me all over the internet as Estella of Ladris, doing a lot of this stuff. Maybe being a little bit less of a bloody pulp in most of my other projects, but you know, that's for Zynon to do, and maybe lick some blood off of tables. And yeah, I've had a great time playing Mr. Licks Tables Zynon Esh. Sam.
Please know that I suffer continuously with these two all the time. I'm Sam Star, Sam Suffering Star. I've played Lumira, who is also suffering. You can find me all across the internet at Lust for Life X, where I also do this shit on the very regular basis. Just follow me. Take us home, boss. I'm so tired.
It's me, Connie, taking us home to 42 Elegy Apartments. Thank you all so much for tuning into this deeply feral episode of the Chaos Protocol. Oh, woo! If you enjoyed what you saw here tonight, please consider leaving us a positive review, joining the Discord server, or posting about us on social media. You can leave that review on your podcast platform or literally any of the comments on our VODs on YouTube. Not only does this help our creator brains when we are on the verge of burnout, it also really, really, really helps us continue to reach out to sponsors to make this work possible. I see everyone posting about us every week, and I love you all. If you keep posting about us every week, I will keep loving you. My love is conditional. Just kidding, it's not. There should be boundaries with your love. Anyway, stick around for the raid.
Did you just tell me your love was conditional?
No! Never for you, Sam Star. Never for Sam and Lumira. My love is unconditional for Sam and Lumira. For the boys,
Okay.
we'll
Fair
see.
enough.
Yeah, conditional. It's
Fair.
fine and fair.
Yeah, it should be. It should be conditional.
Absolutely fair. I'm not even mad at that. As long
We will see
as long
you-
as I was safe.
Don't worry,
Big
you're
time big.
you're God's favorite. We will see you back here next week, same time, same place, everyone. Bijo, journey well, and take us to the raid, producer.